Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 397 based on novel. So let's start. Flying through the crimson waves, one could feel how distorted time and space were. There was a feeling of flying through the universe tunnel. There was a flash of light. Before him was a hall faintly enshrouded by a light, white mist. The material of the hall was the same as that of the passageway of the boat of Mausoleum, and the various materials within the cabins were all suffused with a deep grey. Inside the hall, there was Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, Jittery Sea Master, Liu Ju Master, and another 4 Universe Masters. All 8 of them turned over to look. Luo Feng flew over right away. Milky Way Horde Leader, you have cultivated for only a dozen eras, which is extremely short, and you dare to come here. Dear Bug Master laughed. We were just discussing whether Milky Way would come or not, Shadow Dust Master said with a very kind look. If I were you, with this being the primal universe and with Doomsday still 2 reincarnation eras away, I would still be able to live for so long. So long. With such a short cultivation period, but such great achievement, there is no need for you to come and fight it out with us. Actually, you can still make a full retreat now. Since I have come, I will not back away, Luo Feng said casually. Being here is the same as courting death, Jittery Sea Master said, shooting Luo Feng a hostile look. Since our junior here wants to die, there is no need to bother about him, Red Lark Master also said in a hostile tone. The Skeleton Clan was originally a crazy and cold race. They were only united among their kind, they treated the rest of the world with equal enmity. Especially Luo Feng, who has such a high achievement even though he had only cultivated for a dozen eras. For him, there was an additional trace of jealousy. Actually, out of everyone present, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Red Lark Master, who had chosen to try their luck and take the risk in coveting the inheritance, were the ones who hated Luo Feng the most. They were well aware that the selection of an heir normally placed much emphasis on areas such as improvement, speed, and comprehension level. One had cultivated for a dozen eras, and another had cultivated for close to 3 reincarnation eras, yet their achievements were comparable. Who would Duandong River choose? It was needless to say. Now, they could only hope that the methods that Duandong River left behind were unable to determine how long a great being had lived. Yet they all felt that Duandong River was too unfathomable, so they were full of uncertainty when it came to him. More of them prayed that Luo Feng would back out as early as possible. When all 9 of them, including Luo Feng, had gathered in that misty hall and were all engaged in a heated exchange of sarcastic remarks, an intangible energy suddenly started to gather by their side. Eventually, it gave form to a figure. This was the green-haired man, Duandong River. All 9 have arrived. Duandong River's gaze swept across the 9 great beings, and he nodded. Let's begin with the first round of selection. Selection? Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Luo Feng all felt knots within their chests. No one dared to claim that he would be able to pass the selection. Rise! Duandong River pointed at the somewhere far on the ground of the hall. The ground suddenly split in half. Then a strange machine gradually emerged from beneath. It was entirely dark red in color. On its surface were many secret engravings of various laws. The secret engravings were so mystical that they made every great being present go dizzy due to a lack of understanding. A crack suddenly appeared on the Magicube instrument to reveal a door. Go in one at a time, Duandong River said right away. Selection will be done one at a time. Only one can enter each time. Let's begin. The 9 great beings looked at one another. Who should go first? The strange and unpredictable Magicube instrument looked quite dangerous. At that moment, not a single great being present was willing to be the first to enter. Duandong River pointed at Dear Bug Master. You, go in. The other Universe Masters from the first reincarnation era relaxed instantly and even started jesting. This is merely the start of the selection process, Dear Bug Master will succeed for sure. Yes, how can this be of any difficulty to Dear Bug Master? Dear Bug Master merely smiled. Without a word, he walked toward that Magicube instrument and stepped into it. Soon, a cracking sound was heard, the doors of the Magicube instrument shut. The secret engravings on the surface of the Magicube instrument lit up. Bouts of strong energy waves were churning inside the Magicube instrument, and the entire Magicube instrument went from an initial dark red to a dazzling, incandescent white. What is going on in there? Luo Feng grew tense. Selection? What was being selected? Everything was unknown. From inside, dear Bugmaster did not make a single sound, or perhaps he was shouting and roaring in pain, but no sounds were transmitted out. In short, because nothing could enter the Magicube instrument, the rest outside could not help feeling anxious. A moment later, the door opened. A figure walked out from the Magicube instrument. It was dear Bugmaster. Doubt was written all over his face, which the other 8 Universe Masters did not understand. It seemed like something had happened to dear Bugmaster when he'd gone in. That would explain his expression. First round of selection, qualified. Duan Dong Master took one look at dear Bugmaster. Instantly, dear Bugmaster's face showed his delight. Dear Bugmaster, what is inside the instrument? Liu Ju Master asked. Congratulations, dear Bugmaster. I'm not sure. What's in there? Sorcerer Sprite also asked. There were the only 2 females present, and at that moment, both had spoken up. Go in and find out for yourselves, dear Bugmaster finished curtly and stood by the side. Anyway, he had made it through this ridiculous selection process, so naturally, he would be able to relax and wait by the side. Duan Dong River's gaze swept through the remaining 8. Next. I'll go next. Jittery Sea Master's eyes flashed a murderous glint as he took one big step forward. Seeing that a great being had volunteered himself, Duan Dong River simply stood there without a word and watched in silence. Jittery Sea Master walked to the door of the Magicube instrument, hesitated for a split moment, then with one step forward, he went in. The door shut. Soon after, the secret engravings on the surface of the Magicube instrument lit up again. Luo Feng and company waited in silence. What was going on inside the instrument? After a short moment, the door opened, and Jittery Sea Master walked out. Similarly, he, too, wore an expression full of doubt. Duan Dong River looked toward Jittery Sea Master, and with a tinge of harshness in his eyes, he said coldly, "You, disqualified." This caused the other great beings to feel a sudden tremble in their hearts. Disqualified? Disqualified? I'm disqualified? Why am I disqualified? Jittery Sea Master grew so anxious that he could not hold back himself as he blurted out, I have lived through almost 3 reincarnation eras. Even though that dear Bugmaster has lived much longer than me, the only advantage he had over me was that he owned a supreme true treasure. That's why he's a little stronger than me. Why am I disqualified? This was the one chance that the Skeleton Clan had. Jittery Sea Master was reluctant to give it up. Shut your mouth. Duan Dong River shouted. Next. Duan Dong River looked at the other 7. The only one willing to volunteer, Jittery Sea Master, had unexpectedly been disqualified. This made the remaining 7 feel so cautious that they did not dare volunteer themselves. You? Duan Dong River pointed at Liu Ju Master. Liu Ju Master, qualified. Rock Giant Master, disqualified. Shadow Dust Master, qualified. Sorcerer Sprite Master, qualified. Golden Square Master, qualified. Jittery Sea Master, disqualified. Red Lark Master, disqualified. Duan Dong River finally pointed towards Luo Feng. You? Was the order intentional or unintentional? No one really knew because after Jittery Sea Master's failed attempt upon volunteering his turn, the rest of the great beings' turns were all decided by Duan Dong River, who pointed out who was next in line. Luo Feng held his breath and walked toward that Magicube instrument. Then he walked past the door and entered. Inside the instrument was an individual void space. Luo Feng was suspended within the void space as he observed his surroundings. There was no exit at all. Streaks of distorted secret engravings started appearing within the void space. Dazzling white secret engravings were distributed all over the void space as bouts of strange and unpredictable energy appeared instantaneously. This energy tried to penetrate Luo Feng. Even though he had Star Tower to guard his soul and Crazy Demon Extermination godly armor to protect his body, they were not useful. This strange and unpredictable energy penetrated his godly body, and at that moment, Luo Feng felt as though all his secrets were revealed. The invisible, strange power continued to penetrate within his body. It penetrated every inch of godly power, and eventually merged with Luo Feng to become a complete whole. A short moment later, the distorted secret engravings in the void space started to dissipate, and the strange energy completely disappeared. A door appeared before him in that void space. Luo Feng took a step and passed the doorway to enter the hall outside. What happened inside the Magicube instrument earlier still left Luo Feng filled with doubts. There were slight changes in the expressions of Deer Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and a few others who had passed the first round of selection earlier, as this was the first time Duandong River Asterisk Wu had smiled since the very beginning. Smile, not right, something is not right. Given how the various great beings judged, this Duandong River must be of a very cold character. This shadow that he left behind must have been compatible with his character. You. Duandong River pointed toward Jittery Sea Master, Red Lark Master, and Rock Giant Master. The three of you, quickly take your leave. If you do not leave now, you may be annihilated on your way. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master looked at one another with great reluctance. All of the skeleton clan had been eliminated? Rock Giant Master was a rock-type special life form. He also looked at Liu Ju Master and whispered, Liu Ju, Rock Giant will no longer be able to protect you. Do take great care. Lord Duandong River, would you be able to tell us why both of us did not pass? Jittery Sea Master could not hold back his question. Not from my clan, and yet you wish to inherit something from a pulse on my Duandong River. Dream on. Get lost. Duandong River said with hostility. Your clan? Luo Feng, Deer Bug Master, and the others were greatly shocked. Strictly speaking, the 6 great beings who had passed the selection were not from the same clan, or even not fully beings of the flesh and the blood type. For instance, Liu Ju Master was a plant life form, yet she had still passed the selection. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master trembled. This was the reason. There was big trouble, then. If both of them failed for this reason, then even if other great beings from Skeleton Clan were to come, they would fail just the same. Still not leaving. Duandong River's eyes were brimming with coldness. Let's go. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master gritted their teeth, transformed into light streams and dashed out. Giant Rock Master, after bidding farewell to Liu Ju Master with a most unwilling heart, also dashed out and flew into the crimson-red streaks of light. Coursing along the crimson-red streaks of light, with the passing of time and space, the three quickly arrived at the control room in the hall they were at previously. Humph! Jittery Sea Master lowered his head and looked at the deep crimson passageway. With gritted teeth, he said, if that is the reason, doesn't it mean that no one from Skeleton Clan will be able to succeed? If that is the case, our Skeleton Clan will not be able to succeed at all, Red Lark Master said with a voice dripping with hatred. Let's just spread the news. Let the various groups of powers know. Let a large number of great beings make their way here. What we of the Skeleton Clan cannot achieve, we shall not let the Divine Eye Clan achieve easily. After all, out of the 6 who qualified, 3 were from the Divine Eye Clan. How could the Skeleton Clan look on while the Divine Eye Clan was on their way to achieving something they could not? Within the Misty Hall, Duandong River looked at the remaining 6 and said, if you are not from my clan, naturally, you do not qualify for the inheritance. However, this is merely the simplest round of selection. Also, it is the only safe round. What comes next will involve life and death dangers. If you are afraid, you can still choose to retreat now. All 6 of them, Deer Bug Master, the 3 Universe Masters from Divine Eye Clan, Liu Ju Master and Luo Feng, remained silent, but no one retreated. You've got to be kidding. Perhaps many things would go through their minds when they just started to make choices, but once they had made their decisions, why should they flinch? From the moment they took their first steps on the path of a great being, death and crises were never far away. Perhaps they might die with much unwillingness, but not a single one would fear death. For the powerful inheritance of this ancient civilization, they would all rather give their best shot to fight for it. Good. Duandong River nodded. Follow me. Duandong River turned and walked toward another side door of that foggy hall. The side door automatically opened. Duandong River walked in. Although Deer Bug Master, Luo Feng, Shadow Dust Master, and the other 3 great beings all had doubts about where they were heading, they still followed his lead. Following behind Duandong River, the group walked along a wide path for a short moment before they were completely blocked by a floodgate. Duandong River continued walking until he was standing right before the floodgate. Then he stopped. Wait a little while. The floodgates will open and you all will continue along this corridor. Duandong River's gaze scanned Luo Feng and company. So long as the 6 of you are able to walk all the way down this corridor in a straight line and make it to the next hall alive, you will be considered to have passed the most basic level of the selection process and can start to get connected to the inheritance. Inheritance? All 6 of them, including Luo Feng, Deer Bug Master, and Shadow Dust Master, made a shudder as their eyes lit up. So long as they could walk all the way down this corridor and make it to the next hall alive, they would be considered to have passed the selection process and start getting connected to the inheritance. They were all very excited, but all 6 were also aware that Duandong River's inheritance was very powerful, so the selection process would not be simple. Meaning to say, this corridor would truly be a death corridor. And amongst them, there would likely be someone who would be annihilated. Everyone had to give their utmost best. 6 of you. As you make your way down this corridor, you can use your weapons, and you can use every technique and method you know, Duandong River instructed slowly. All you have to do is to make it to the next hall alive. Duandong River turned to look at the floodgate and pointed to it. Raise it. The heavy, large floodgate rose slowly, revealing a wide, deep passageway that seemed to have no end. This made Deer Bug Master, Luo Feng, Liu Ju Master, and the other 3 all frown. What dangers awaited them within this death corridor? What methods had Duandong River, from a great ancient civilization, deployed for his selection process? Once they failed the selection process, they would have to face the danger of death. The easiest stage of the selection process was the one before them now. All they had to do was to stand on a Magicube instrument for a short while. If they did not pass, they could leave right away. You. 5 of you, go in. Duandong River pointed at 5 great beings. Me? All 5 of us go in together? There was an uproar. All 5 of them, Deer Bug Master, Liu Ju Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Golden Square Master, registered shocked expressions. Duandong River had pointed at the 5 of them and asked them to go in together. Shadow Dust Master pointed at Luo Feng and could not help asking, what about him? What about Milky Way Horde leader, Luo Feng? Deer Bug Master and the other 4 started to get a little unsettled. They could not doubt or change Duandong River's decision, but during the screening by the Magicube instrument earlier on, they had noticed Duandong River revealing a trace of a smile when it was Luo Feng's turn. At that time, they had found it suspicious. Furthermore, among them, Luo Feng's cultivation period was the shortest, at only a dozen eras. Was that not substantially short? The 5 of you will go in together, and he will go in alone, Duandong River said coldly. Why? Are you unwilling to? Then leave. Now, you are still able to leave this place alive. If you do not leave, the 5 of you must quickly make your way in. If you don't enter, you may be disqualified. Deer Bug Master, Liu Ju Master, and the 3 great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked at one another, then took one glance at Luo Feng. Let's go. Let's go. 5 figures entered the corridor at the same time. The heavy and wide floodgate lowered with a loud crash. The corridor was sealed once again. By the entrance of the floodgate, only Duandong River and Luo Feng remained. Duandong River looked at Luo Feng. Once you enter, there will be no chance for retreat. Luo Feng nodded, but many thoughts were rising in his mind. The other 5 went in together? But he was to enter alone? Why was he so special? Could it be Duandong River really looked at him in a different light, or was there a special form of danger awaiting him? Was this a blessing, or a curse? Within the corridor, Deer Bug Master, Liu Ju Master and the 3 great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked behind them at the floodgate that was once again lowered. Their expressions were slightly different than before. The situation does not look promising, Shadow Dust Master said in a shrill voice. His eyes flashed with a murderous glint. If an heir was to be chosen, then considering someone like Luo Feng, who has cultivated for only a dozen eras to attain such high achievements to those like us, who have cultivated for close to 3 reincarnation eras to attain such high achievements, only a fool would not choose Luo Feng. I suspect that the weird Magicube instrument test was not only testing our blood lineages and life characteristics, it was most possibly detecting our lifespans, too. The 5 of them were shocked. That was right. No one knew what that weird instrument actually screened them for. It must have detected some unique characteristics, Shadow Dust Master laughed coldly. If not, why would Duandong River let out such a rare smile? Apparently, he must be very satisfied with Luo Feng, but why? I think the instrument must have detected that Luo Feng has only lived for a dozen eras and has the shortest period of cultivation. Such an outstanding talent with an extremely short period of cultivation, even to the 3 reincarnation eras, he is unbelievable. Even if we were to compare him within the ancient civilization, I think he would still be phenomenal. With such an extraordinary talent appearing to inherit his legacy, of course he would be greatly pleased. Thus, the differential treatment. Right, true, that is highly possible. One by one, they spoke their minds. Even dear Bugmaster nodded in agreement. They were all of high positions and were clear that when it came to choosing disciples, there would never be absolute fairness. Once they set their eyes on a certain disciple, during any selection process, they would always give differential treatment. But what else can we do? Now that the 5 of us have to go through this corridor together, there is no way we can plant accidents along Luophong's way. Golden Square Master shook his head. I think Duandong River must have thought about that. That's why he separated Luophong from us. Even if we had any plans in mind, we will not be able to execute them now. Dear Bugmaster shook his head. Let's go. Let's not think further. This is the inheritance Duandong River left behind. We can only act according to his wishes. We can find another opportunity to deal with Luophong. Right now, there is simply no chance at all. We can only move forward from here. This death corridor. There is a possibility we might not even be able to make it through. Breaking through the death corridor, everything can be used. Dear Bugmaster, with your supreme true treasure, you have a much greater chance. Dear Bugmaster said no more and flew ahead right away. Liu Ju Master also transformed into a streak of light and flew ahead. The other 3 from the Divine Eye clan looked at one another, nodded slightly, and also continued advancing down the corridor. The only advantage to being part of Divine Eye clan was that the 3 of them were of one heart. With joined hands, they would not be the least bit bothered even if they had to fight against someone like Dear Bugmaster. At the other side of the floodgate, Luophong could also vaguely guess that Duandong River's method would have caused the other 5 Universe Masters to start targeting him as their enemy and treating him with hostility. They would see him as the greatest threat when it came to the inheritance. A strong wave was faintly transmitted from the other end of the floodgate, and Luophong could not resist turning over to take a look. He could only see that heavy floodgate. Next up, bouts of energy waves were transmitted over in a continuous stream. Apparently, some dangerous life and death situation was happening deep within this death corridor. Lord Duandong River, why would I be separated from the other 5? Luophong suddenly asked. Duandong River stood with his eyes closed, his entire being seemed to become an iceberg emitting cold air. Hearing Luophong's question, he opened his eyes and replied, You only need to follow my instructions. Do not question why I decided on such a selection process. If you are displeased, you may leave. If you choose to leave now, you can still have the chance to live. With that, he closed his eyes again. Luophong could only put up with everything that he was asked to do. The Skeleton Clan was a pinnacle clan from the first reincarnation era. Within the vast universe ocean, there was a total of 4 miniature universes. Within the first miniature universe, 4 towering figures were scattered in 4 different directions. In midair, they looked at one another. These were the 4 Devil Masters from the Skeleton Clan. Red Lark Master stood in midair deferentially as he reported what he knew to the 4 towering figures. This was our personal encounter, Jittery C's and mine. That was indeed a terrifying inheritance. An inheritance of a super great being named Duandong River *Wu, who was from the ancient civilization. This Duandong River *Wu, based on my speculation, must be a great existence that was only second to a so-called general from endless reincarnation eras ago, even before the completion of Universe Boat. His inheritance was definitely something major, and from the descriptions of it, throughout the entire ancient civilization, every generation will only have one heir for this Duandong River inheritance. Jittery C, said a towering figure. Is that true? Jittery C Master, who was standing to the side, also replied deferentially, Yes, that is the truth. The 2 of us were eliminated right from the very first stage of selection. The reason was simply because we do not belong to the same clan, so we do not qualify for the inheritance. Red Lark, whatever the 2 of you experienced, simulate a part of the memory you have into a projection for us. The 4 Devil Masters of Skeleton Clan were extremely solemn. This matter seemed very serious, even when heard in summary. It was clearly a great deviation from the norm. Yes. Red Lark Master replied deferentially. A 3-dimensional projection appeared in midair. From the moment they charged into the boat of Mausoleum, the projection started to play. They saw images of Duandong River appearing within the hall and saying those words, and they started to get emotional. Then there was the inheritance, one line from Duandong River, not from my clan, and yet you wish to inherit something from a pulse on my Duandong River. Dream on. Get lost. These words sent chills into the hearts of the 4 Devil Masters. How loathsome. Such an opportunity, but, because of those 3 beings from Divine Eye clan, we cannot enter. Loathsome. The 4 Devil Masters also let out ferocious roars. All were clearly furious. Spread this. A hoarse voice shouted. Let the news be spread to the 3 great reincarnation eras and the 2 Holy Land universes. Spread it to them all. Let the whole of Universe Ocean know. Let great beings from all over gather here. We must create chaos within the boat of Mausoleum so that we can destroy Duandong River's inheritance. In short, so long as there is chaos, we Skeleton Clan stand a chance. Even if we have no chance, we can destroy it and deprive the Divine Eye clan of their chance. The Divine Eye clan and the Skeleton Clan are arch enemies sharing endless hatred for one another. We cannot give them such a great advantage. Spread the news. The other 3 Devil Masters roared furiously, all in extreme rage. Without hesitation, they started transmitting the news to various groups of powers within the entire Universe Ocean. Within the deep region of the Universe Boat's internal region, on Flame Ice Continent inside the boat of Mausoleum. Luo Feng stood at one end of the floodgate, feeling the bouts of energy waves transmitted from the depth of the corridor, yet he was clueless as to what was happening inside. Huh? Duandong River suddenly opened his eyes, then whispered, "One annihilated." For left. Luo Feng was shocked. He involuntarily glanced at Duandong River. One annihilated? The 5 Universe Masters in there were all extremely powerful. The 3 from the Divine Eye clan were all of one mind, one heart. Dear Bug Master had a supreme true treasure that he kept close to him. Liu Ju Master was the most difficult to kill out of all plant life forms. Luo Feng took one look at Duandong River, who was still standing at the same spot with his eyes shut. Although Luo Feng wanted to inquire about something, he decided to give up on that thought. It would be a futile attempt. Another was annihilated, Duandong River suddenly said. Left with 3. Luo Feng's heart lurched. This life and death corridor was much too dangerous. Those Universe Masters who dared break deep into its internal domain, how impressive they were. Even if Universe Supreme Masters were thinking of annihilating them, they could not be this fast, right? In the blink of an eye, 2 more were annihilated. Dear Bug Master is the most powerful. The 3 from Divine Eye clan are of one mind and one heart. And Liu Ju Master is a 5th-tier Universe Master and also a plant life form. Compared to the 3 of them, I am the weakest. Now, out of 5, 2 have been annihilated. What if I were to go in? Luo Feng frowned as he started to worry. Flame Ice region, at the cabin door area of the boat of Mausoleum. Jittery Sea Master, Red Lark Master, and Giant Rock Master were standing at the cabin door entrance. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master had both sent their other bodies back to their clan to make a report. As for Rock Giant Master, of course, he too would be making arrangements to send his other body back to where his group of power was to make a report. No. Rock Giant Master's massive body trembled. Liu Ju. Rock Giant Master suddenly let out a hoarse shout. His crazy voice was filled with anguish. He fell to his knees heavily, and his knees smashed the sturdy floor tiles at the cabin door area of the boat of Mausoleum as both his hands grasped the edges of the ground. His implacable emotions could not be held back. His raving roars and strange yowls were high-pitched and mournful. There were also shouts that expressed complete hysteria, and Rock Giant Master's godly body trembled and contorted. Beside him, Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master were taken aback. Both looked at Rock Giant Master in his state of hysteria, then back at one another. Liu Ju Master must have been annihilated. Yes, I guess she must have been annihilated. It is said that wherever Liu Ju Master is, there will be Rock Giant Master, always. For countless years, close to 3 reincarnation eras, Rock Giant Master had been silently following Liu Ju Master. It seems he has very deep feelings for her. The moment Liu Ju Master got annihilated, Rock Giant Master went crazy. The 2, on the other hand, were gloating over Liu Ju Master's misfortune. Both of them were unable to receive the inheritance, but so what? If they had been able to go and try to receive the inheritance, they would still have faced the fate of annihilation. Rock Giant Master was still letting out crazy roars while waving his 8 arms about. Fist after fist crashed heavily against the ground. The heavy impacts of the crashes brought a faint quake to the ground. As the floor of the boat of Mausoleum was incomparably sturdy, even Universe Supreme Masters would not be able to bring harm to it, much less the fists of Rock Giant Master. Insane, heavy punches smashed about until the surfaces of the 8 fists started to shatter and crack. Inheritance. That detestable inheritance was what killed you. Revenge, revenge, revenge. Rock Giant Master was howling in pain. I'm going to destroy this inheritance. I'm going to destroy it and kill the heir who wins it. Kill them. Duandong River. Duandong River, it's all because of you. It's your fault, it's your fault. I am going to cut off your inheritance, sever it. I will avenge Liu Ju. Soon after, Rock Giant Master turned about suddenly and charged toward the control room of the boat of Mausoleum. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master laughed coldly as they stood aside and watched everything with indifference. Crazy. Rock lifeforms are really set in stone. How rigid their minds are. And it is starting to go crazy. Merely a short moment later, Rock John Master's massive figure returned. Can't cross over anymore, can't cross over anymore. Rock Giant Master shook his head. His eyes were filled with sorrow and anguish. I told you that I will always be with you. My doomsday is nearing, but you were annihilated before me. Liu Ju. Rock Giant Master slumped into a corner at the cabin door entrance with a loud bang. There he sat, leaning against the wall wordlessly. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master felt a little fearful, so they moved further away and walked into the public square of the hall, not daring to be near to Rock Giant Master. Outside the floodgate of the corridor, Luo Feng stood where he was silently and could subtly feel the energy waves. Suddenly, the energy waves stopped. Luo Feng felt a constriction in his heart. Duandong River opened his eyes and gently nodded. Still all right. Just 2 dead. Then he turned to look at Luo Feng. You, go in. Following his voice, that wide and sturdy floodgate that was shut earlier started to rise with a rumble again, revealing that deep corridor. At the end of the corridor, there was not a single figure. This made Luo Feng all the more fearful. Even with the 5 of them moving together, 2 were dead. For him to act alone, would it be a blessing or a curse? Either you give up, or you move forward. Duandong River cast a look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng returned Duandong River's look and, without further hesitation, flew in. The gigantic floodgate behind him lowered with a loud crash. Then it was sealed again. No chance of backing out now. Luo Feng took one look at the floodgate behind him, then lifted his head to look deep into the corridor. I would like to take a look at what this life and death corridor has that could annihilate 2 out of the 5 of them. He transformed into a beam of light and moved forward at high speed. The corridor ran deep. Sometimes it became narrower, other times it widened. Flying for a short moment, his path ahead seemed to get even darker. Within the deep, hazy passageway, Luo Feng's eyesight still allowed him a clear vision of his surroundings. Luo Feng frowned and stopped to hover in midair. Not far ahead, a tall figure lay on the ground. His body resembled that of a human. There was a large amount of hair on his head and neck like a lion. His neck was thick and strong, and both his eyes were shut. Half the surface of his godly body was protected with a layer of black armor, and when Luo Feng appeared, that tall figure suddenly sat up and opened both his eyes. With both eyes emitting faint red light, it stared at Luo Feng. All you have to do is to survive Kueyo's blows. An icy-cold voice sounded by Luo Feng's ears. He recognized the voice right away. It was Duandong River. You cannot hide in your palace or such true treasures. If that is the case, then I have no choice but to eliminate you. You must meet the battles head-on. Hiding within palace-type true treasures is not allowed. Other than that, all other weapons can be used. 2 out of the 5 were annihilated at the hands of Kueyo earlier on. I hope that you will survive. The seated figure suddenly stood up. He had a body that was more than 100 kilometers tall and eyes that were icy-cold, exuding an endless, murderous aura. The corridor was approximately 6,000 kilometers wide, which was enough for combat. I must meet the battles head-on? Luo Feng descended slowly. He looked at that strange existence with the name of Kueyo from afar. Why did Duandong River call it Kueyo? From endless eras ago until now, for it to remain, it most likely is not a life form. Roar? Die? The monster, Kueyo, let out a roar and charged over in big strides. It transformed into a streak of light, and before Luo Feng knew it, it had already arrived before him. Luo Feng also followed suit and acted immediately. This monster, Kueyo, left here by Duandong River, could annihilate 2 universe masters. Of course, Luo Feng would not dare to be careless. The moment he arrived, he was prepared to fight with all he had. He entered the state of the heart of Beast God right away. With a loud howl, he charged ahead. At the same time, his strongest right arm transformed into 5 gigantic golden blades, which he waved about while howling. It was as though 5 battle blades were hacking down at the same time. Third form of crazy demon extermination, godly armor, extermination god. Monster Kueyo's head was mercilessly hacked, and its entire being seemed to become a sandbag struck into rotary motion. It was thrown backward, where it landed heavily, smashing the ground of the corridor with a great tremor. Luo Feng was taken aback for the moment and did not follow closely after Kueyo to continue with his attacks. What? This? Luo Feng was shocked. This is the standard of what killed 2 universe masters? What a joke! Those 5 were extraordinary. To kill 2 out of 5 of them, at least the power of a universe supreme master would be required. And since he was only at the 4th tier before he arrived, Luo Feng had already made plans. The moment he arrived, he would use his trump card. Then he would go along with the collision force during their exchange of blows to make use of its strength. Borrowing this force, he would make an urgent retreat. Through this very first blow, he would determine the capability of his opponent. Then he would be able to devise detailed plans. But in reality, after a single strike, Monster Kueyo was beaten right away. Without any power to resist, Luo Feng, who had initially intended to borrow force for his urgent retreat, was dumbstruck in midair. What is happening? Why is it so weak? When it received 1 claw from me just now, the power that it displayed was so weak that even a universe master would be able to trample on it. Luo Feng was filled with doubts but hesitated no further. In a flash, he charged toward Kueyo. Monster Kueyo was already roaring as it rose to its feet, once again roaring, "Die, die, die." Like a flash of lightning, Luo Feng struck it at a frighteningly fast speed. There was no way Monster Kueyo could have defended himself. Right away, the blow struck his neck, causing Monster Kueyo to fall flat on his face and crash to the ground with a loud bang. What is going on? Luo Feng used both legs continuously to execute a strongest secret technique, cracking gold. 2 dazzling golden boots of light kicked at the back of Monster Kueyo's head, causing its face to kiss the ground twice with rumbling sounds. Roar! Monster Kueyo's big, thick hands pushed against the ground to flip itself around so that it could stand up. Luo Feng looked up in midair with furrowed brows. Its body is quite strong. My attacks left no trace of injury on it at all. However, its ability is too weak. Although he could not make any sense of this, if his opponent was weak, it would be his chance to trample hard on it. Luo Feng transformed into a beam of light and instantly made his way to where Monster Kueyo was. Monster Kueyo was roaring while waving his fists, yet Luo Feng grabbed onto him swiftly and sent him crashing onto the ground. Being trampled upon repeatedly, Monster Kueyo was sent sprawling on the ground or thrown against the walls of the corridor. The hair at the back of its head was grabbed by Luo Feng, who used it as a means of swinging it against the walls. For a period of time, Luo Feng moved at the speed of lightning. Repeatedly, he trampled upon Monster Kueyo. Although he was doing the trampling, Luo Feng still remained vigilant. Every single time he attacked, he made sure that he was prepared to respond to any possible violent outburst from his opponent. His power is soaring. Apparently, it is on the rise. During the trampling process, Luo Feng increasingly felt that something bad was going to happen. He could sense that the power Monster Kueyo was displaying was continuously increasing, from a senior universe knight, to a 2nd-tier universe master, to a 3rd tier, a 4th tier. Its power was soaring with the passage of time. Where it started off easy for Luo Feng to trample on Monster Kueyo, he started to find it more and more difficult to do the same. Especially at this very moment, when Monster Kueyo had almost attained the 5th-tier universe master standard. Luo Feng and Kueyo would be on par with one another when it came to fighting. Yet Monster Kueyo's power was continuing to rise and surge. Luo Feng rolled and collided into the walls of that corridor. Then, instantly, it vanished. Monster Kueyo's terrifying kick crashed into the wall. Already at the 5th tier, Luo Feng was forced into a tight corner. If its power continues to rise, won't it progress to the 6th tier? Or to a universe supreme master? This video will end here.